Hey up, how's it going everyone? Welcome to Rads. This is my match preview to Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. It's the other way around, let's do that again. This is my match preview to Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa. Is that dramatic enough? Let's try again. This is my match preview to Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa at the City Ground. Yeah, that's better. I like that. I like that level of intensity. Forest need to be more intense on the pitch rather than letting go of 2-goal leads. You see what I did there? Yeah. Oh yeah, subscribe for that top level humour. If you find it humorous, then please do like and subscribe to Rads. Even if you don't find it humorous, do that because I just want to gain subscribers really, get 6,000 subscribers. And that's that really, thank you. Aston Villa then, it's going to be a very tough game of course, as is every game in the Premier League, but this is probably the first game at home this season where it really is like clearly going to be a very, very tough match. I think even against Brentford, there was a lot of complacency around the ground, which I think has been a big problem. I've already been over that in a very in-depth video earlier in the week. Go and check it out. And yeah, I think it's something we need to snap out of quite quickly. And I'm hoping that that will kind of naturally happen this weekend because we're playing a big team. They're not even a big six side, but they're performing at that level. Our record against Aston Villa in recent years then is a 1-0 loss at the City Ground in 2018, a 5-5 draw at Villa Park, one of the craziest games I think I've ever seen from Forest, a 3-1 loss at home. I'm noticing a theme here, Forest. Can we snap out of that losing malarkey? Jack Colback scored another quite bizarre goal from the left-hand side of the pitch in that game, nowhere near as spectacular as the one against West Brom, of course, but still impressive. Last season we saw a 1-1 draw at home, roughly about a year ago actually, and that was a big game really because there's an awful lot of pressure on Forest at the time, just like there is a lot of pressure mounting now, probably a little bit more unnecessarily than what it was a year ago. And of course the 2-0 loss at Villa Park. If this was at Villa Park this weekend, I wouldn't have much hope at all because of our away form and also because they've won 12 Premier League games in a row at Villa Park. So that's really good for them, but not good if you're playing them. Their form in general is just top notch. They've only lost twice this season, both of them being away to two very good teams in Newcastle and Liverpool. Their injuries, they have long-term injuries to Tyrone Mings and Emi Buendia. They're both out, potentially going to be without Jacob Ramsey and Alex Moreno, a player that Forest were linked with once. Who hasn't been linked with Forest in the last couple of years? I think most players have been at this stage. A few more points on Villa really is I just think they are the benchmark for any promoted team in recent years because ultimately they were only in the Championship in 2019, just over a year since that Steven Gerrard, and they were a total joke really, relegation fodder. And now look at them, under Unai Emery, hardly lose a game, they score an awful lot of goals, the top scorers in the league so far this season with 26 goals, that's unbelievable. Biggest threats of course, you've got to be talking about Ollie Watkins. He's been on fire this season, thank God he's English, but can you not perform this weekend, Ollie, even though you're actually in my FPL? So like, tell you what, you score, but let Forest score 3 goals and we kind of get a bit of both there, don't we? So is that alright, Ollie? Deal? Yeah? You're definitely not watching this video. I think that attitude and mindset has been the main reason why Forest just haven't been as intense this season at home in terms of atmospheres. Heads have dropped a lot easier and just a lot of complacency going into that first game against Sheffield United. Everyone was saying 4-1, 3-0, 2-0 Forest, and in lots of ways that was always going to be possible, but I just had an inkling then. I'm not saying that I don't get complacent sometimes, but I just think it's been quite a collective this season. It needs to really stop because we're not going to get anywhere thinking like that. So I'm thinking against Aston Villa, like we saw against Arsenal last year and all the big teams that came here, and not even just big teams, when we saw smaller sides, which is a bit harsh really, we still had good atmospheres. Maybe besides Bournemouth at home last year when we had that horrible game, there were always good atmospheres. Forest injury news, we will all but certainly still be without Gonzalo Montiel, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Divock Origi. So that's 2 forwards, both missing, which is the weakest area of the pitch for us in terms of depth. Thankfully, Tyrell Awoniyi and also Nuno Tavares returned against Liverpool, Tavares being an unused substitute. Awoniyi coming off the bench and making an impact for sure, not anything too spectacular because the game was dead, but it did emphasise the importance of having an actual striker on the pitch, and not just a number 9, but Tyrone Awoniyi himself, how important he is. Chris Wood is now missing though, which is kind of good timing, I suppose, that Awoniyi comes back at the same time, but you just couldn't write the script as good as this with many players being injured, and you know, people have been talking about it more and more. Why are we getting so many injuries? It needs to be sorted out because there's clearly a reason for it. And hopefully, I really hope Danilo's going to be fit for this weekend as well, because he's been training more intensely, I think, recently. And I just want Danilo back. I think we've really missed him. Like, as great as our midfield has been, with Dominguez and Sangara coming into that midfield, I think Danilo, we missed that energy from that midfield. And I would arguably still put him into the team, because looking at how Sangara's done, I do think there's a definite place there for him to come back in. So looking at potential teams and lineups for this weekend, this is what I'd go for with one of them. I've got another team to show you as well. Rashidimos, I'd put him in there. I think Matt Turner, I'm not going to, rip into him like some people have, but I just feel take him out the firing line. He has made quite a few mistakes, really. So we've got a top class goalkeeper, so we can see, just based off what we know about him, sitting on the bench. We don't know that for sure though until he's actually played, and I do think getting knocked out the cup so early has made it even harder for him to get in if Turner was consistently playing really well, but he's not. So I think this is a big chance for Vlachodimos to come in. I'd love to see him get a go. I also think Serge Aurier should be took out the team as well. I've always rated Serge. I still rate Serge, but of late he's not been in good form at all. He's had a lot of poor performances for his standards, and I'm not too sure as to why. He just hasn't been performing. So for me, this is the great thing about Ola Aina. I'd put him onto the other side, and I think Toffolo should come back in. I think Toffolo has been so good whenever he's played recently, so I'd keep him in. Midfield, I was really close to putting Yates into the starting 11 ahead of Sangara, and a lot of me still wants to. Now, one of the reasons why I didn't is because I thought I'm probably going to get quite a bit of backlash if I do that, but at the same time, I do think Sangara ultimately is a better player. Sangara is without a doubt the better player compared to Ryan Yates. But is he as important? Is he going to be as effective as Yates? I don't think that's as nailed on. Sangara is clearly a talented player. He's shown a lot of promise, but not quite as much as I think we all thought he would. I think everyone probably thought that the impact that Dominguez has had on the team would have been what Sangara's had, and the impact that Sangara's had is probably more what Dominguez would have done, but it's the opposite. Dominguez has been instrumental. I think he is one of the first names on the team sheet, and Mangala's been fantastic this season. So I think there's real debate to take Sangara at the firing line. I absolutely would consider doing it, and Yates would be the one that I put in, because I do think we do miss that heart and soul in the midfield of Yatesy. The reason why I put Alanga as, well, not an actual striker, but he's in a 2 with Taiwo, is because I just don't like Morgan shoved out on the wing. He's so much more effective as an actual number 10. So that's why I've done that, and I think Alanga, even though he wasn't that effective against Liverpool on his own, he never really was going to be. In a 2, I don't think there's any reason why he can't do a lot better, because the pressure's not all on him, it's more on Taiwo. So that's one of the teams. The other one is this one, 3 at the back. I kind of feel like this would be more wise, because looking at how thin we are in attack, do we really want to be playing 3 strikers basically, or 3 forwards, and then have absolutely no attacking options to bring off the bench? Look at Luton, we only had Brandon Aguilera on the bench. Thankfully, we now have Taiwo back, but now we don't have Chris Wood. So we're really thin in attack. So maybe it would be worth having someone that you'd probably want to start in Alanga on the bench, so we've actually got someone to come on and make an impact. Without Alanga on the bench, you've got absolutely nothing to come off the bench and make an impact that you can actually rely on. Same midfield, again, like I say, Yates could come in for me. I wouldn't be at all against it. Obviously, Niakate coming in for Alanga. Yeah, that's what I'd go for, potentially as well. I don't know which one I'd rather see, but my prediction for this, I hate this. I really don't know. I'm going to have to go for either 2-1 Aston Villa or a 1-1 draw. I do think we could get a draw out of this. It would be phenomenal if we got a win. We absolutely need it. We desperately need a win. And it would be a major confidence booster beating a team as good as Villa or any top 8 team, for example. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe to Rads if you are new. Vlog for this game will be coming out on Sunday evening, so stay tuned to that. And yes, come on you Reds.